Hey, yo, my voice sounds terrible, but this was too good to pass up. I put a poll in the comment section, and the poll is as follows. Do you want the Detroit Lions to draft Jalen Carter? We currently have 37 votes, and it is 51% no, 49% yes. In all my years of talking Detroit Lions and watching them, I have never seen a player that has the fan base this divided. This guy is like, you would think that he's Aaron Donald. Now the Detroit Lions passed on Aaron Donald, another defensive tackle. We took Eric Ebron instead, and we came back to regret that pick. If you're listening to this video, you have to put in the comment section, do you want the Detroit Lions to draft Jalen Carter? Because it's twofold. You live with the results. So if the Bears take him, you live with the results. If he is drafted by the Lions, you live with the results. Is he that generational? And now the poll is tied. 38 votes, 50% say yes, and 50% say no. This is insane. Eric, do you agree, says Ting, do you agree that we need a 300-plus limb DT, plug up that middle? Now, I will say something that intrigues me. The Lions made a lot of moves in free agency. We shored up that secondary. We even re-signed a linebacker. We did not, however, sign, outside of Isaiah Buggs, we did sign John Kaminsky. So two guys that were already on our team. We didn't make a move for any defensive tackle outside of those two. We didn't make a move for Payne, but he was franchise tag. We haven't traded for Simmons. We haven't traded for Oliver. And there's a free agent on the market right now, Poona Ford, that might be an affordable option. But the Detroit Lions have not made a move for defensive tackle. All right? So that leads me to believe they are going to draft one. And the one that Tankathon has us and many other mock drafts is Jalen Carter. Braylon says, so y'all people just don't care about character when it all comes to Carter. What's up, Brian? How you doing? J Mommy says, I honestly don't believe that Carter can make it a year without his probation, without breaking his probation. That's a valid point. And the Lions are going to have to keep him on notice. Any team that drafts Jalen Carter is going to have to keep in mind for that probation. We don't know what the terms of that probation is, but if he violates any term of it, he can do jail time. No Cansey will be better long term. But Pascal is healthy now. All I know is if Brad Holmes take Jalen Carter, I'm going to be happy because he does his $1 million homework. That, D. Reese, is very true. I think we all do, but Bugs Kaminsky do not feel that to an extent for me. That short power DT is missing on our team, and I think I put McNeil in the speed category. Well, I'll tell you what. If the Lions take Jalen Carter, that would be super divisive. Super divisive. And I'm going to be real, man. If the Lions can whip Carter into shape, and I mean both mentally and physically, if we take him at 6, we're going to be scary. That's just facts. If the man is on the field and actually see Jalen Carter, man, he has a good chance to redeem himself. I'm going to tell you a couple of things I don't like. Drew Rosenhaus said that Jalen Carter won't meet with any team outside of the top 10. It comes out later that one of the reasons he said that is because he doesn't have time. Because there's a cutoff point that the NFL has for visits. And that cutoff point is coming long before he can meet with all the teams, the 30. So he has decided that he's going to narrow that down to the top 10 picks. I have not seen a mock draft yet where Jalen Carter goes out of the top 10. So My gut opinion is that the Lions are not going to draft him. It's just too many question marks with Jalen Carter. It's too much defensive talent in this draft that the Lions can draft later on and not have to worry about the stuff that they got to worry about with Carter. Defense gave up 160 yards rushing per game, says Nick. There's probably not many better places to go as far as atmosphere goes than the Lions. See what Holmes digs up for and decides. Carter needs veteran guidance, which we don't have. That's true. That is very true. We don't really have that veteran leader on the defensive line. The Lions do not want to have to babysit Carter. Well, according to the poll, which now sits at 44 votes, 50%. And here's the question: Do you, the fan, want the Detroit Lions to draft Jalen Carter? And the consensus that I've seen on the internet, Twitter, YouTube, and beyond, is that this thing is split right down the middle. One side of the fan, I think either way it goes, the fan base will be happy. Either way, if he's drafted, we trust in Brad. If he's not drafted, we trusted in Brad, right? I'm going to say that the Lions will not draft Jalen Carter. And I'm going to call it the Thibodeau effect. The Thibodeau effect. Kayvon Thibodeau didn't nearly have the amount of red flags that Jalen has. And yes, speeding repeatedly over and over and over are red flags. Shake and bake with the dono says the Lions have to learn from the mistakes. Nick Fairley had character problems before the draft, and the Lions gambled on him. That was a huge mistake. Carter just needs his license revoked. All of his issues deal with reckless driving. That's true. And Dim Sum, we'll end the segment with this, bro. It is very tough to talk with nasal congestion, man. You are breathing and talking at the same time. That sentence that you said right there, reckless driving. I want to say reckless is worse than careless. Reckless is like a blatant disregard for the safety of yourself and others. As a matter of fact, before we get off, let me see if I can find out what that is. And we'll end the segment. And I'll tally up the final votes. Because I want to know the difference. And I'll let y'all decide. I'll let y'all decide based off this. All right, so we are going to... Okay, so this is what it is in Michigan. I know he was not in Michigan, but we'll just kind of base it loosely off this, okay? Here is, people ask, what is careless and reckless driving in the state of Michigan? The distinction between careless and reckless driving, which is what Jalen Carter has been accused of, comes down to intent. Careless driving is defined as only involving negligent or careless conduct. Reckless driving is when a driver operates his vehicle, his or her, with a willful and wanton disregard to the dangers to other persons. I messed that up. Reckless driving is when a driver operates his vehicle with a willful and wanton disregard to the dangers to other persons. So he was caught doing 89 in a 45. That is license suspended. That's like revoked. But he got away. And like Dim Sum said, all of his stuff comes from driving. That tells me, and we'll wrap this segment up here. I'll tell you what the final votes are. That tells me that he has a disregard for safety for other people. That's not somebody I want on my team. Dude is immature, might just have gotten his first car or something. The vid in his face just looks like my son's when I catch him doing something he shouldn't be. Okay, Dim Sum, but how many times, though? This guy is getting pulled over countless times, man. And the poll will end at 52% yes, 48% no to Jalen Carter.